Stop. No, sir, not again. It's the Gruesome Twosome, and we're back with another video. Guess what we're doing today? Movie review! Hey, I know it's been a minute. I'm sorry. It's just really hard to get space to record when I don't really have a place of my own to be right now. Yeah, it's pretty hard to get a place where people aren't screaming all the time, or dogs are constantly barking. It's just been hard to get space to record. I know it's an excuse, I'm sorry, but that's just how it's been, man. But hey, we're back. And guess what I'm reviewing today? I'm reviewing... Get it? Because in the show, they never say it. I'm gonna say it, alright? Invincible. I love, straight off the bat, I love it. It was great. Let me give you my synopsis. I got notes. Alright, Invincible. Made in 2021, the 17-year-old Mark Grayson is just like every guy his age, except that his father is Omni-Man, the most powerful superhero on the planet. As Mark develops powers of his own, he discovers his father's legacy may not be as heroic as it seems. The show started on March 25th this year, 8 episodes. Animator was TAP. Now, the voice cast for this show is phenomenal. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I didn't go on this sooner. It's amazing. You have Steven Yeun, sorry if I jack up some of these names, Gillian Jacobs, Zazie Beetz, Sandra Oh. You got some heavy hitters here. J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man, perfect casting. Let's start off there. You got Mark Hamill, Seth Rogen, Clancy Brown, aka Mr. Krabs, and Justin Roiland, aka Rick and Morty, and your mom. Their creators were Robert Kirkman, Ryan Oddie, and Corin Walker. Robert Kirkman also was one of the writers. Corin Walker was also one of the writers, and then Matt Godman was the last writer. Let's just get right into it. So I'm just gonna get the bad right out of the way, because this series is great. Also, I want to mention that the next video I'll be wearing the same thing because I'm filming them back to back since I don't get time to record a lot. Yeah, if you notice I'm wearing the same shirt, just know that I recorded these back to back. Oh, and for series, I do something different. I don't do a grading system like in school, like A, B, C, D, or in between. I'm going to do a scale of 1 to 10. In my head, I kind of give a rating of each episode, and then I kind of average it out, and there's no in-betweens. So if I say something is a 9 point something, then I'm not going to round it up to 10. It stays the solid number in front of it, even if it's like a 9.9. And I'll mention that it's close to a certain number, but I'm not going to be like 8.63. You know, like that's just baloney. Start with the the very few bad things. The 3D assets were really bad. I think everyone can agree the 3D assets were bad. Of course, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. It was just bad. You know, it was noticeable. It kind of took me out of the experience. And I think it's because I don't think they knew how big this show was going to get. This show is so good. This show's so good, so big, and so many people were anticipating season 2. So many people watched season 1. I'm almost positive they're gonna get a bigger budget for this. It's just, it was a first season. It was a test, you know? So I get they didn't have as much in the budget for that. And that's one of my other bad points, budget and shortcut. Like, some of the animation was really detailed, really good, and in some of it, I could tell. Like, there were some scenes with just like a repeating background, just because they didn't want to animate and spend the time on another background, which is fine. You allocate your time, but sometimes it was pretty noticeable, you know? Like, they would take some shortcuts, but again, I don't think they knew how big this series would be. So they had to use their time and their budget wisely, and I respect that. But it is on here as a bad, just because it's hard. Listen, it's really hard to find bad things about this series, man. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I bet if they had a bigger budget, they would have gone back and done better. I bet they're going to do way better in season 2. And again, the series is almost perfect to me. This is just me trying to nitpick it, okay? So if any of the creators ever watch this video, just know I'm really what's the word? I'm really trying to nitpick here because there's so much good I have to say about this, okay? Anger is okay, question mark. So, Mark in the series, there are certain points where, again, this is spoiler free, but there are certain points in the series where the main character will get angry and then you think something's gonna happen because of it. Like he has a sudden change, and they make it clear. They zoom in on him. You know, he says something like, "Oh, you guys are done for," and then nothing comes. Like the same thing that was happening before he said that, then happens after. Nothing changes really, and I don't know. I feel like if you want to include something like that, then make it something that has a real impact. Again, every time I get angry, I'm like, well, let me guess, he's just gonna get his butt kicked again. And that's what happens, you know? A certain character goes out of their way for another character. You know, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I guess they change forms to a form that they think that character will appreciate, but that character that they want to impress never showed that thing would really like impress them. Listen, if you know, you know, but that character never showed any interest in the form that this other character was going for to impress them. There's also a gag that they keep repeating. It's funny. It's a funny gag, but it's a problem that's so easy to solve that if they mention it less in the series, if it was less of a joke when those characters are in the episode, I'd be fine with it. I'd be completely fine. The problem is that they mention it all the time when they're on screen. And again, it's funny until it's not. So if they made the joke less, I'd be okay with it. But since they mention it so much, and it's such an easy to fix problem, it really makes me, I don't know, dislike think their characters are annoying sometimes. Whatever, right? It is what it is. It's a preference thing. But I didn't like that so much. And then nothing else really. I actually had that written. Because now we get into the good. Alright, let's talk about it. The voice acting, I already told you about the cast. Phenomenal. S-tier voice acting. Animation, mostly. Like, only the 3D assets and a couple budget cuts took me out of the experience. But otherwise, I wrote this down. This is like Ben 10 Alien Force, but 10 times better. The animation is so good. So detailed sometimes when you don't even want it to be, right? This series has gore in it. And sometimes the gore is really detailed and you're like, ooh, ah. And for an animated series to make you that uncomfortable, like have that kind of visceral reaction, is genius. The concept was great. It's a DC Injustice parody, basically. It's so good. They have their own version of like Batman, Aquaman, and then like Omni-Man is basically Superman. So good. The idea is not original, but it's completely original. Sure, it's a DC parody, but it's way deeper than that. Like, that's just the surface. That's kind of what hooks you to the show. It's like, oh, this is cool. But then the story really gets interesting. The characters are really well written. The writing was just amazing. All good characters. So even though I complained about these two characters with a gag that kept repeating and got tiring, everything else about those characters I love. I like those characters. I like the main character. I like the antagonists. Who is really the antagonist? I don't know. I like every single character. There are usually series and movies that have a character that I'm like, they don't really need to be there. I don't really care about them. I felt that way 0 times in this series. I liked every single character. They were written amazingly. What can I say? Great freaking work. The pacing was amazing. There was no dullness. No dull episodes. So I would rate episodes, right? Like, I never got bored during the series. Even for movies, I kind of look at my phone sometimes, if nothing's really happened. And I count that against the movie, saying like, oh, it didn't keep my attention. This series kept my attention all the way through. And I understand the meme. Think, Mark, think. Great character arcs. Like I said, the characters are well written and they go on great journeys. Great development. It's amazing. I can't wait to see what these in season 2. Adult animation, gore, mature themes, real fear and consequences. That's a big thing. Superhero movies nowadays is like, whoa, it's all fun. It's all fun. Until it gets serious. Like, say, Spider-Man Homecoming. When Peter Parker was stuck under all that rubble, he was crying. He was crying like a kid. He was like, oh, shoot, this is actually real. I could actually die. And he was scared for his life. I love things like this. And they do that in this series. The main character, Mark, he gets into these situations and he's like, oh, I'll just do this. I'll just do what the superheroes do. And then it gets real. It's like a war zone. And he's just like, oh my goodness, what do I do? What do I do? So much pressure's on him. And they show that so well. The colors. This is the last point. But the colors in the show, like the bright colors, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. Everything pops. Everything pops. Everything gives me interest. The main characters' outfits are bright. Even though the background's bright and sunny and it's nice, the characters' outfits are still brighter, but not too bright. You know what I mean? Like the colors, the art design, the character design, amazing. What do I give this series? I almost said movie. What do I give this series? I give it a 9 out of 10. And it's close to being a 10 out of 10. But because of the animations sort of bringing me out of the experience sometimes, 9 out of 10, it's close to a 10 out of 10. I bet season 2 will be a 10 out of 10 if they do everything they did in season 1 but improve the 3D animation. But hey, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, share it. You know, tell me what movie you want me to watch next. I'll read every comment and I'll do every suggestion. Anyway, I love you very much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.